Apprehend God in all things, for God is in all things. Every single creature is filled with God and is a book about God. Amen.
Amen.
So happy Father's Day to you guys and people who act like fathers, whatever that means. I hope you have a great day. I hope you appreciate the people who are fathers or role models in that way. But let's be honest. Father's Day is a shell of Mother's Day. All right? I mean, who really cares? And I have some facts to back that statement up. So this year we will spend 30% less for our father than we did for the mother. 30% less. So that's where we stand. Just say, even coming here. Just think about it coming here. When you came here for Mother's Day, everybody got a beautiful flower, a nice carnation. What'd you get, dads? Nothing. That's right. You got nothing. and even we did this Google search. We did this Google search for images for the front of the bulletin. So look at the front of the bulletin. And if you do a Google search and put in Mother's Day, there's all this beautiful art. It's really pretty. This is the best we could get. This is the best. Right here it is. Fathers, now just admit it. Fathers, we get the shaft. Father's Day, we get the shaft. We really do. And not just on Father's Day. There's the National Library, what's it called? National Library of Medicine. And they have a website, and they do studies for different things having to do with health. And they studied, if you put in something to do with mothers or maternal, 250,000 different studies pop up. If you put in father or something along fatherhood, only about 20,000 pop up. So clearly we think motherhood is much more important, or we're more interested in it anyway, than we do fatherhood. We're much more interested. There's been much more research done about mother's impact than there has been about father's impact. That's just, as a culture, that's just where we are. Maybe because, back in the day, maybe the lines were clearer, and fathers' roles were clear. They were the provider. And maybe a disciplinarian, and then you come home, and if your child had a question, the father's response was, ask your mother. Right? So, but now that's not really true anymore, because we expect fathers to do more. And most fathers I know want to do more, want to be more involved. Not that the other guys weren't, I'm not saying that. But as a whole, we want that to shift and to change. Though, you got to be careful what you want. Be careful what you ask for. Do you remember the first time, dads, now be honest, the first time your wife left you alone with the kids or a child? Just all by yourself? Training wheels off? Just you? Do you remember that? I remember when Cindy did it with me, and I was like, I can't believe she's leaving me alone with these kids. She knows me. I wouldn't leave them alone with me. And I just remember Dylan was really into Thomas the Tank Engine at the time. So that was cool. You could watch Thomas the Tank. He was good. But, you can't do that all day. Eventually he had to eat. And after about like the 50th time, it felt like the 50th time, of him just saying, Mommy doesn't do it like that. I just realized, man, I am not as good at this as she is. There's just no way. I'm really not the truth is, fathers are not good mothers. But fathers are good fathers. And fathers are important. And despite the discrepancy in the studies, there are more coming out that are looking at the father's impact on children's life and then therefore life in general. And how important it is. As a matter of fact, there's a book that's just out. It's called Do Fathers Matter? Do Fathers Matter? And it's a researched book on how fathers matter, saying yes, they do. And the guy has a whole list of reasons as to why fathers matter. Fathers and mothers are different. And he's got a whole list as to why. And when I was looking at the list as to why fathers matter, I tried to kind of synthesize the list. And what I came up with was, what it got me thinking about is, fathers do this. Fathers help children by giving them a strong foundation. A strong foundation so that they can engage life confidently. So that they can push out into life and know that they're not alone. And know that they've got that strong foundation to jump off of. And to know that somebody's got their back. That fathers are the ones who are going to be there for them. So that's, not that mothers aren't, but fathers have their way. So fathers are the ones that help give a strong foundation for kids to launch out into life from. And I came across a number of stories that just really support this. One is that there was a woman who was a young woman getting ready to get married. It was the day of her wedding. And she was just in that kind of hyperventilating freak-out mode. You know, if you've ever been around brides, that can happen. And so hyperventilating freak-out mode. And she was just so worried about the day, that everything be perfect, that she do everything perfect. And she was so worried about that she was just coming unglued. And her father finally just sat her down and said, honey, look, listen, what's the worst that could happen? What, you throw up on his shoes or something like that? Okay, so you throw up on his shoes. So we take him outside, we clean off his shoes, we clean you up, and we go back out and do the wedding. We're going to get this done because what's really important is your marriage. The day's important, but what's really important is your marriage. And that you know that you're going to always be supported by us. That's a strong foundation for a marriage. To realize what's important and what's really secondary. We were talking about, another story about this, we were talking about the passage that we read from Genesis today. We were talking about it in our Bible study. And we were talking specifically about that word dominion and what it means to have dominion. And there's lots of ways you can interpret dominion. And somebody said, well, you know, one way is we're in charge. So that means we get to do whatever we want with this creation. That's one way. That's definitely one way to see it. We get to do whatever we want because we're in charge. And somebody said, yeah, but I'm a hunter and a fisherman. And he said, and my dad always taught me, you have to eat what you kill. That you don't just go around killing things just because you can. He said, it's important for us to take responsibility for the creation because we have to respect what's here. That's a great foundation for life. That's a great way to understand what it means to have dominion, to have respect. And I have it in my own life. My father helped me with my Christian foundation, really. You know, these guys, I'm sure these guys aren't like this. You know, they're probably much more mature than me. But when I got out of seminary, man, I thought I knew it all. Because you learn a lot of stuff. You learn a lot of stuff about stuff. You learn a lot of stuff about the Bible. You learn a lot of stuff about the tradition. You learn a lot of stuff about things. And I just couldn't wait to go to my first church and fill people in. You know? So that's my job, man. So I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. So I went to First Church, and baptism, when I was in seminary, baptism was a big thing. We talked about it all the time. We talked about the sociology around it. We talked about the traditions around it. We talked about what was really kind of done in most communities around it. And so baptism, man, I was on it. You know, we were going to do this right. And one of the big things was you never, ever, ever have private baptism. That's an anathema. Baptism is supposed to be for the community. You're being baptized into a community of people. You have to do it in the community. So I called my dad because that's all they wanted were private baptisms. And so I had all these collisions with this. It's not a lot of fun, doing that. Yeah, especially when you have all the answers and nobody wants them. So I call my dad and we're talking on the phone and I'm just going off on this, blah, 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 They take these local customs and they call it tradition. They make it like the tradition for the whole thing. Well, it's a local custom, and I'm trying to tell them, I went and studied the traditions. I know what the traditions are. You're bored with it. He was bored with it. He had to be. And I just went on and on and on and on talking. And finally, when I took a breath, he said, wow, Thom, you're going to have to really make a decision here. You're going to have to decide what's going to be at the center of your Christianity. Is it going to be judgment and this obsessive need you seem to have for always being right? Or is it going to be love and a sense of humility that knows nobody's always right? What's it going to be? He said, by the way, in the Gospels, he said, I never heard Jesus say, judge one another the way that I have judged you. As a matter of fact, I think he said, love one another the way that I've loved you. And I fall back on that time and time again when I'm judging people, when I'm in that judgmental mode. Fall back on that. Love is what's at the center. Love is the foundation. And isn't what we're doing with Raines and Wilson? Isn't that what we're trying to give them? Give them a foundation for their Christian faith and life? A foundation that's rooted in love so that they know no matter where they go, no matter what they do, they're always loved? No matter what? That's the foundation, that they come from that place. And not just so that this love thing is some abstract thought and just out there. It's love, and it's love that hopefully can be experienced right here, in this place, by us. That we become the people that love them and encourage them and help them to know that they're accepted and help them to know that it's important that they're here in this world and that they have gifts to give to the world. Isn't that what we're trying to do? So today we give thanks for all people who help us with that strong foundation. And hopefully they're fathers, because, they get the shaft every other day. So I hope you can celebrate it and have fun today. Amen.